Yo, what's poppin', people? Cobra Star Green back with you guys with another video. Look, you guys first time finding our channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also like the video. Yes, today, we are reviewing a highly anticipated movie, and it's the last one in the series. It's over. But today we are reviewing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Yes, I'm hyped for this one. You guys know me, man. I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. But just because you're a big Mission Impossible fan, don't mean you still ain't no movie critic. No. So, how did I like the movie? Did I like the movie at all? Did you like the movie? Well, you're going to have to find out right after this. Go ahead and cue that intro.
Finally, we got a problem. 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 It's probably you. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. We got a problem. We got a problem. We got a.
So yes, this was definitely like one of my highest anticipated movies of this year, and I will tell you guys out the gate. Let me tell you something. I've been in there probably since Mission Impossible 3, and you guys know 3 is my favorite. I will defend 3 to the end of my life. I ain't gonna lie, I love 3. I think 3 is actually overlooked. But how does this one fare? Now, I am gonna get this out the way. I saw these reviews. I saw people talking online. Everybody's like, well, it's not as good as that one. It's not good as that one. Oh, it's so slow in the beginning. This and that. Like, I saw so much criticism, and I could barely find anybody saying anything good. But as me sitting down watching the film, I loved it. I was looking for all them comments. I'm driving home. I'm looking for all these comments. I'm like, where all y'all at? Because I want to write y'all something. Because I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I absolutely love this film. Man, look, it's crazy because the stakes in the other movies were so crazy, but it's like they just made this one even crazier. And not even just the stakes, the action scenes. Bruh, Tom Cruise, chill. Like, bruh, I love you, Tom Cruise, but I was getting scared watching some of his stunts. But how'd you feel? How'd you feel about the action scenes?
This absolutely needs to be seen in IMAX.
See in IMAX.
Absolutely, 100,000%. I would say there's two big set pieces. Mm-hmm. They are critical. They're some of the best in the series.
We could talk about, so there's a huge submarine part, right? And they talked about it in the last movie, but they really they go there in this one. You know what I'm saying? It's not no spoiler or anything. But and then there's another one with the plane. It's crazy because I'm like, okay, how are they gonna do something crazy with this? And I was like, God damn, literally the submarine. You have a submarine one.
It's truly terrifying.
Yes, the submarine stunt is crazy. You're not even expecting it to get as crazy as it gets, and it's crazy because it gets crazy and it keeps getting more and more and more crazy. But then, later on in the film, there's another set piece and stunt. And you're like, God, that was even more crazier than that one. I'm like, God damn. So how'd you feel about it? How'd you feel? Because you love the submarine one.
Yeah, the submarine one, it truly amplifies the terror a little bit. You truly feel like he could die here. If you didn't already know that he was the protagonist and that he was always going to make it, it's Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. Still, you're just like, but seriously, this guy could die here. It feels like a life or death situation. The intensity is just upped in scale, and you're just like, I don't know how you get out of this. I don't know how you do it. It's crazy. And not only with that sequence, the airplane sequence is another one where you're like,
it's in the trailer too. I'll see in the trailer.
Seriously, how do you make it out of this one?
It is so crazy. Like I said, I've seen all the other movies. And he's climbing up these tall buildings and other movies and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, how you doing this? And then you see this movie and you're like, this one might even be more crazier than that one. I'm like, I don't even know where to rank all these stunts that he's doing. And it's crazy because I was watching the movie and I'm like, man, I just want this to end. Not because it's bad, but because that I know Tom Cruise makes it. Because I'm like, these stunts is just out of this world crazy. I don't even know how he even does them.
It's truly with the second sequence. Do we want to go into spoilers or no?
No, okay. No spoilers.
Yeah, but the second sequence is just I actually don't know, what do you do here?
Right, yeah.
It's like, how? How do you do this?
Bro.
Like, you always say how in each Mission Impossible.
Right,
But truly
yeah.
in that moment, too, it's like, no, actually, how do you do this? And yeah, you truly feel like he earns every moment, though. It feels like every bit of intensity is earned because it feels like he's earned every victory. There's like a little mini battle in every single breath.
Yes.
It's just crazy.
Bro, I was on the edge of my seat. I don't even know if you saw me. I was just sitting there like I was breathing hard and everything. I'm like, man, this is, like you said earlier, definitely something to see in IMAX. Now, I did see a bunch of people talking about, oh, the beginning is so slow. I think you were with them that you said it's slow. I think it's a lot of exposition. Like the whole, like the first hour and 20, yes, it's somewhat slow, whatever. It's not a lot of action. But it didn't bother me because of one big thing, and that's because of the fact that it's kind of paying homage to the other films. You know what I'm saying? Like, they reference, and they're not even just referencing, they're actually showing clips of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So some of the runtime is with that. You know what I'm saying?
I think the movie does a really good job at tying every other Mission Impossible movie into this one.
But how do you feel? I know you didn't.
I wasn't a particular fan of that. It felt like it took too long to actually get into the meat and potatoes of what makes the series so great in the first place. It felt like the exposition, and I know the exposition tends to be like this in most of these films, to be fair, but it felt like overutilized, where it felt like it weren't the fact that most of the people already are on board and know about this franchise and are in love with this franchise. It might feel like they're not really respecting the audience in a way, where it's just like, hey, remember this specific thing that we're talking about, and we're showing you like flashback sequences of what happened, but it feels like most people who are in love with the franchise already should be able to remember that. You know, in general, I think it takes you out of it takes you out of the world, basically. It reminds you that it's a film, and there are moments where that is acceptable, right? I can accept that to an extent, but it felt like 1, 2, 3, like, here's a reminder, 1, 2, 4, like, it's just like, okay, we're kind of overdoing it, and I feel out of the world, and I feel like I'm watching a film instead of I'm watching an experience, if that makes sense. I
don't know.
It's just too much of that. I feel like there's a way.
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like there's a way to cut it to where it's like, okay, I get that you have to communicate this, but it just felt like overkill. Is the best way to put it.
See, I could see that, right? I could definitely see that, because there was points where I thought maybe it was too much, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I didn't see one, and that the part that they're referencing one, and that they're like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is who this character is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, this is made for the Mission Impossible fans. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I saw that. Now, aside from that, there is a lot of exposition, like dead ass. It's about like it's a good minute of some exposition, but honestly, I wasn't bothered by it, y'all. I know, but people are bothered by it, but I was like, you know what, this is fine, because I know all of this is leading up to some crazy ass set pieces and some action pieces, so that's why I probably wasn't bothered.
Well,
by
there's
it.
a lot of heart to the film too. Like,
that is true. Yeah.
I think one of the characters is especially a big impactful moment where it felt earned, it felt sincere. I think with this being the finale too, I think they could have done that for other characters as well. I'll just say it like that, but I'm okay with the conclusion overall. Of what happened too. I'm able to accept a good conclusion overall with
I will say this movie, because this is they said it's the last one, but who you never know. But I will say this movie did feel like a finale. It felt like, look, if we're gonna stop here, this is an amazing stopping point.
I felt like a finale in terms of this is a good stopping point.
And the scale was a lot bigger.
If Tom Cruise decides, hey, I'm still up for doing another one in about like say a 4-year break or something like that.
Better not, bro. I'm done. I'm not trying to stress.
You
no
can
more.
realistically see that being like, okay, I understand that. I see why you would want to, you know, do that. That being said, in a way, I'm like, I kind of do hope it ends here, and it's not to say, wow, this franchise has not, you know, earned my warranted attention for another one. It's more so, I feel like this is a good place. This feels earned.
Yes, I feel like the stop, like how this movie ends. I was like, man, that's perfect. Like.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfect stopping point. Now, I know, like, a lot of other franchises, they have that perfect stopping point. They're like, well, there's still money to be made, so they're going to make another one.
There is points in time where it feels like with a franchise where Star Wars is a good example, where it's like, after the original trilogy, it's like, you know, I like to believe sometimes where it's like, maybe it is okay that, like, you know, everyone deserves their happy ending in their break. Mm-hmm. Their, like, earned break, where it's like, I know it's a franchise, right? I know it's a series and you want to make more money, but sometimes I like to put myself into places of these characters where I'm like, I feel like this person, Ethan Hunt, has been through a lot.
Has he?
A little bit of peace and quiet is the very least he has earned.
Bro,
Bro,
like I said, they like a lot of that first 40 to an hour, whatever. I forget how long it is, but yeah, they show what Ethan Hunt has been through. Yes. And you're like, just sit down. Just for maybe like a couple years. Just sit down, because you have been wearing your body out. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of the plot, just without like not really spoiling anything. You guys remember the last movie? It piggybacks off of the last movie with the entity. You know, everything's all AI now. So pretty much, without spoiling too much, the entity is trying to take over the world, right? And how it's trying to do that is pinning a bunch of nations against one another. And I think, without spoiling anything, I think this was one of the craziest stakes in a Mission Impossible movie. I don't know.
Frighteningly,
because I thought 3 was kind of crazy with the stakes.
They say nowadays it feels like some things feel like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But if like AI were to advance to that point, unfortunately, it actually feels like a real scenario in some ways. That is the state of affairs in our current climate. Frightening. It is kind of frightening, where it's like, wow, like what Ethan Hunt and his team have to do to be able to stop this kind of event is a suicide mission, essentially.
It feels that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
It very, very much feels like, wow, this is like. It truly is a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, but that's kind of like all the Mission Impossible movies. Like,
true, yes.
All of the Mission Impossible movies, they always give Ethan this task. They're like, God damn, this is impossible. I mean, that's why it's called Mission Impossible.
But given it's the finale, it never felt more like that in the series, if I'm being quite frank. Like, it's never really, truly felt the stakes at this level of heightened. That's what makes every kind of event even more like, oh, holy shit, how does he get out of this? It
was crazy, because you watched the last movie, and I know that they introduced the entity. Yeah, the entity.
Yes.
So they introduced the entity in the last movie, and I was like, God damn, another movie where they're going off of AI. But the way they do it in this movie, it's like truly terrifying. Like, the AI legitimately just tried to take over the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's all I'll say with the plot. That's all I'll say. Well, go ahead.
On paper, that's like a more
I mean, it's like everything.
On paper, it's like boring. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
And I'm not saying that it isn't like the typical thing, because it is. Mm-hmm. But it's also, I think it's about execution more so than anything.
Yes.
Where it's just like, oh, yeah, that is terrifying in this given circumstance. You elevate the stakes by saying, here's the potential sequence, and I guess there's an amplified feeling of like stakes. Given everyone's under pressure, you can see the sweats and the nervousness of like each especially the U.S. governments, where like it's never felt more kind of transparently real, where it's like, we have to do this thing to stop this thing, or
right.
We're truly in a it feels like a lose-lose scenario. So yeah, it does feel like pretty frightening.
Yes.
Like you feel it. Yeah.
And then next one we talk about is the characters. Now, there is a lot of characters, so I am not talking about every single one of these characters. I'll talk about probably like the main people. First, so I'll talk about Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt. Man, look, if y'all seen him in every other film, then y'all know what to expect from this. This dude's a lunatic. He's crazy, right? And in the same way as he is in other movies, he's the same way here. But I feel like since he's gotten older, he's getting more wise. You know what I'm saying?
Like in this movie, Ethan Hunt's trying to outsmart the entity. He's like, look, that's what the entity wants you to think. That's what it wants you to do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so the entity's so smart, right? But then you realize Ethan Hunt's actually smart too. So I mean, I dig Ethan Hunt's character. How'd you feel about Ethan Hunt's character or Tom Cruise character?
I don't want to say one note because it does.
No,
feel like
he's
there's
definitely more than one note.
It's a little bit more depth. That's not to say that he's like the most interesting character ever. I think it's more so about what he chooses to do with his actions, the lengths he'll go to is what makes him interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's truly, it feels like
this, like
he
what
feels
we're seeing right
the
here.
character feels like the peak of like what a human can do without superpowers or anything.
Yes,
like it's like a superpower in of itself is the lengths he would go to to truly accomplish his mission. There's a little bit of a typical kind of like the burden of the weight of his choices, where it does feel like there are specific decisions he's made throughout the course of the movies that he feels burdened by that led to these course of events. And it's like, okay, like, you know, like this the typical kind of path where it's just like, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of like, yeah, like how can you predict this? So I don't feel it quite as much in terms of like, yeah, I should feel like this character feels like the weight of these consequences because it's like not realistic to predict these kind of things. I felt more of an impact with his relationships to the team.
Yes, and
especially with like one of the particular people in his team.
Talking about Grace, Haley Atwell's character.
No, I don't think that's a bad romance, but I'm not a big fan of how they deliver the romance in these films. Anyway, like it's not amazing. It's not as interesting as they would.
I think it's like
be. I think I'm more interested in his dynamics with
Benji,
Luthen, and Benji. They are like day ones. You know, they are very much integral. And it feels like they are family, like sincerely family.
And talking about Benji and Luther, man, they're great as they've always been.
Luther,
you know what I'm saying? Luther, Venge Rames and Simon Pegg. They are both still great. If you guys seen the other movies, you guys know what to expect. Go ahead.
Not to mention there's stakes. You feel the stakes with the team.
It's
like not just Tom Cruise's sequences. There's actual stakes with the team.
There's stakes with literally everybody. As you watch this, you know
like actually truly feel like anyone could die too. Where it's just like, again, it's the added weight of it being the finale, but like the amounts of terror that can you feel like, wow, like this is a heavy sequence. And Simon Pegg's character is, you know, not as like built for combat as like a Tom Cruise, but he's in the heat of the battle. You know,
and you can see how you always see how useful he is, but you really see how useful he is in this movie.
You never truly know.
Another character, I feel like we'll do two more characters real quick. We'll do Haley Atwell. Now she's piggybacking off her character. We met her character in the last film, and she's really good at like pickpockets, right? And I'm so glad that they use that in this movie. That they're like, look, this is pretty much her superpower. This is what she's known for. And the fact that they used it, and they used it in some big ways. I ain't even gonna say how. But Haley Atwell's character had a major jump from the last movie. That's all I will say with her character without spoiling anything. How do you feel about her? I know you said like you don't really dig the romance.
I like her as an individual character more than I do as a romance. I think one of the things that I would have liked to have seen in the series is that usually he'll find romance with the women in his life. Mm-hmm. I would have liked this to be like the one occurrence where it actually feels like a sincere, like she is part of a team, a friend, an actual friend.
Okay.
I feel like usually the romance doesn't feel as it feels a little forced. So yeah, like I like the individual aspects of her character more than the actual co-opting of. Yeah.
Okay.
She's cool. I like her. Yeah.
And then the next character, the final character we're talking about pretty much is Gabriel. If you guys, I remember him. I'm always gonna remember him from the guy from Ozark. Yeah, I loved him in Ozark, man. But here, it's the same way he's seen in the last movie, man. He's the entity's best friend, I'll say.
I would like a little bit more depth from him.
I would too. Yeah, that's one thing.
To be fair, in Ozark, he didn't have too much depth either. But he was. I think he does play a good.
He plays a good antagonist, I would say.
A good antagonist that feels threatening. That feels
does,
like one step ahead, kind of, for the most part.
I don't know if he's better because I love Mission Impossible 3. I will always say that. I forgot who's the villain in Mission Impossible 3. But he passed away in real life. But I always think he's like the best.
That guy's a better villain, yes.
Yes, I think he's the best villain in the series. I don't remember his name
off the top of my head, but yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna look it up right now, man. But he's my favorite. He's my favorite villain out of all the Mission Impossible movies. Philip Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, he was great. He was the most memorable villain, and at least to me, in the Mission Impossible franchise. But Gabriel he's fine. I would say he's fine.
Gabriel's good. I think the actor is better than the actual role
character. Yeah.
If they gave him a little bit more to work with, I feel like he could have been a top 2, top 3 villain.
But that's because we've seen him in other things, so we know like, oh yeah, if you give him the material, you know what I'm saying, he'll be way better.
Well, I know, yeah.
But yeah,
I give him a little bit more leniency because I know of the potential.
Yeah.
And it's not like he did bad with the material he was getting.
No, he didn't.
It was done. He did his job basically.
And I know a lot of people are gonna go into this thinking, Cobra, this movie is 3 hours. Look, I will say I did not feel the 3 hours. I am not even gonna lie to y'all. I honestly, I will say, I kind of wish the movie was a little bit longer, but I could just be alone in that one.
I think I'll disagree on that one.
You felt it?
I think I felt the first hour. I think.
That's because it was slow. You feel like
hardest to go
because it was slow.
Like, because it's like, yeah, I feel like I know most of this or stuff that was, given to me. Again, I felt like it was like, oh, we could have cut this.
Okay.
The the other 2 hours or whatever, I think it's about 3 hours or 2 hours.
It's 2
hours. The rest of it felt like not like a breeze, but it felt like, okay, like we're picking up the pace and like we're doing it in a good way where I feel invested and I feel like I'm in the movie and I feel like I'm I feel like I'm not wasting my time here. That's the best way to put it. But yeah, I felt invested in it. It's not that the rest of the movie was like fast paced where it felt like a neck break speed, but no, it went along smoothly.
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't really feel the runtime. Honestly, I was enjoying every second of this movie. I would say my biggest criticism would be the plot was kind of confusing, and what was all going on was kind of confusing. But to me, that's like every Mission Impossible movie that I see. That I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm actually loving what I'm seeing. I guess we can go ahead and get into our ratings, man. Look.
Oh wait, one more character. Can we mention?
Yeah, what's up?
I think his name is. He was the submarine captain.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I believe he was the captain.
Yeah, right here.
I like this guy. He's in Severance. For anyone who has watched Severance, you would know. They took a little bit.
What was it?
Tremel Tillman.
Tremel Tillman. That's what he's talking about. Go ahead.
So, like, they take a little bit of what he did in Severance and added that little flavor onto his character in this, and he delivers that. He's a good side character that's got a little bit of a like quirk. I'm not gonna overstate it as if he was like an exceptional part in terms of, it's a very nice thing to see where, like, I think this guy could have a good career. I want to see him in more things.
Bro, the audience loved him. When he pops up, they loved him.
He had this thing where they took it from Severance where he has a particular vernacular and a particular way of structuring his sentences and a particular politeness to him in Severance that they took and added to this character for the Mission Impossible to like he does this weird thing where he's like referring to Tom Cruise's character as Mr. And it's just like it's very particular to like what I see in Severance, and I love it. I know it's a little bit typecast a tiny bit, but it works in this movie, and I really like it for him. I want to see him in more stuff. I just wanted to note that.
I think he's a great actor. Honestly,
I think he has.
I definitely think he's a great actor.
Yeah, I want to see him in more stuff.
But let's go ahead and get into our ratings. Look, I guess I'll go ahead and go first, man. Look, I absolutely love this film, and I was kind of like skeptical because I saw all those reviews. You know what I'm saying? What reviews is like the Twitter talks, people posting their stuff on Twitter, their reactions on Twitter, and I hadn't seen too many positive ones, so I was like, dang, they gonna end off on a bad note? But watching the film, man, I think probably about 45 minutes in, I said, oh, this is great. I'm absolutely loving what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and say this is one of the best in the franchise. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely up there. A great way to end the franchise. If they're going to end it here, I think this is a great stopping point. Honestly, I cannot wait to go see this again because I'm going to see this again, and I want to see this again on opening weekend. Just because you remember, you saw with the live audience we saw, man, everyone was applauding. You have those special moments in the film. Like, I feel like this is what cinema is all about, y'all. Like, this is why movie theaters exist, and you don't want to watch, or why I don't want to watch movies at the house. You know what I'm saying? Just because we got big screen TVs at the house, no, there's something different about going to a theater, sitting there with a bunch of people, watching it, and everybody just having a blast while watching the film. So, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and give this, I'll give it a freaking 8.5 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. Probably close to a 9 out of 10. I might go 9 out of 10, but it's definitely one of my favorites of the year. How would you feel?
I agree with his sentiment. I think people need to support theaters more often. Buy concessions, even if they're expensive. We're in a specific time and place right now where I don't know how likely it is, but theaters are at risk of not being as prevalent as they used to be.
Right, yeah.
These are special experiences. So please do see this in a theater if you're interested in this. I do recommend it ultimately. I think I'm a little bit harsher with the stuff that I was criticizing than him. I think I take the sentiment that some of the reviewers were saying a little bit more. I'm a little bit more aligned with them. Although I think I want to caveat that with saying I think this is not anything specifically too new in the franchise in terms of like criticisms. I think those are fair criticisms. I wouldn't blame them for them. So how I feel like objectively this was made, I feel like this is a pretty strong like 7 to 8 out of 10 kind of film, especially with the stunts. I'd post
them stunts are so 8.5.
In terms of how it's well made, probably a 9. In terms of my subjective experience with how I felt about the movie, I would probably rank it about like a 7, 8 out of 10 ultimately. Okay. I enjoy myself thoroughly. I did not feel like I wasted my time at all, thank God. I was worried, I'm not gonna lie, with the first hour I was like, please don't do this to me, don't do this to me. Yeah. And it felt very earned. Everything felt very well executed.
The movie gets a lot better. I would say if everybody keeps talking about that first hour, look, I promise y'all, after that first hour hump, it gets a lot better, and it's just action after action after action.
It's not even to say that there's nothing about the first hour that's good or anything. Of course, there's good stuff in the first hour. Mm-hmm. It's just like you're going to have to go through a bit of stuff that feels like unnecessary, but ultimately, it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah. It really just is. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our reviews. Look, y'all post y'all reviews. Y'all seen the movie? Let us know down below. Hit that subscribe button if you guys new, like the video. It really does help. And we will see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.